Hello, hello, and welcome to Dark Philosophy, the talk show where we have a guest pick a topic and then we fill that time with that topic. Joining us tonight is Small Time Republic, otherwise known as Matt, which we will henceforth call him Hail Matt. How are
Hello.
you tonight?
Doing great.
Good, good. Are you ready for some good discussions tonight?
I'm ready to get deep in there.
Hell yeah,
Well,
super deep.
Balls deep, baby. Yeah.
Wow. Wow, we went there a minute, 8 seconds into the stream.
It doesn't take me long.
That's 45 seconds on screen. Wow. And I thought I was bad. It's a good thing I can't get demonetized. I'm going to try to monetize this one in the future, and they're going to be like, no. He was talking about being balls deep in something a minute into the stream. What the
Yeah, I think
heck?
just the fact that I'm here would get you demonetized.
Yeah, if you showed your face again, it would get bad. But luckily, I'm
Oh, I
not
know.
monetized, so I ain't got shit to worry about.
Hey, even
Let's
Quasi
do
ended
what
up
we
with a
want.
girl, bro. So
Quasi. Yeah, he did. Real quick, let's see who's popping into the chat. We've got Lasso of Truth. Hey, peeps. Hail, Trina. It's great to see you. Thanks for being here. Sean E. Step. Into Manners. Hail. Hey now, don't influence the vote. And remember, for all those watching during the replay, oh, that broke my brain, Lasso. I'm sorry. She broke my brain with this one. It threw me.
nice.
Are you ready to rumble? I love it. So, yeah, sure, why not?
Corey, are you the third buffer brother?
I have absolutely no idea. I'm pretty sure I'm not. But I'd like balls deep, that is. Hey, she's laughing and it says it's fire. That's great. So, Matt, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you're familiar with our community here.
Well, I've mainly just been in chats. I've been on maybe 5 or 10 live streams total across maybe 3 or 4 channels, just trying to go on other people's channels and um, you know kind of came across the fandom probably maybe 3 years ago. Was really into watching Matt Wilkins' Star Wars videos, and he had a friend that was starting out on YouTube named Ryan Kennel, and Ryan watching him kind of led me into the other people that were in the fandom as far as watching their their streams and things, and that's sort of what led me into it.
Awesome. That sounds like a very, no offense, common story these days, though. It's good that the content creators are able to get such wonderful people as their fans, because, I mean, we've seen the fans of some people, and they are fucking nut jobs. I won't say anyone's specific name, but I heard that things get crazy on Twitter sometimes. That was a reference. Ha. Umbrella Guy would get that. But anyway, so are you ready to pick from a topic then?
I'm ready.
All right. Let's add this to stream and see if I don't screw this up. Our 3 topics tonight are manners, curse words, and acceptance versus tolerance. What are you feeling tonight, Matt?
Well, first of all 3 are good topics that we could spend a lot of time on, but I think I'll go with acceptance versus tolerance.
All right, and I'll go with called it. Let's do it.
The University of Princeton defines acceptance as a mental attitude towards something that should be accepted as true. They also define tolerance as the capacity to exist in an unfavorable environment or allowing for the freedom of choice and behavior. In today's world, the question is raised: when does tolerance go too far, and can we truly accept what we are seeing in society?
Well, there it is. Do you think that tolerance has gone too far in society for certain mindsets?
For not
I
wanting to
am not
discuss politics.
I am not making this a political aspect. We are tolerant now of mental disorders that are damaging. They do long-term damage, and I'm not singling out anyone who has gender identity or gender dysphoria. Okay. I am not calling out anyone who has body dysmorphic disorder. I am not calling out anyone who is uh, anorexic or has an insatiable appetite for food. I am saying that there are harmful things that we are now tolerating as a society that are incredibly damaging.
Nom
And
nom.
should we accept them, or should we try to get people to see how damaging they are?
Well, I think there's a very fine line there, between the tolerance and acceptance. But as far as, tolerating things that we feel like may be damaging to another individual, I think it's all in the approach, I mean, in terms of, yes, whether it's the gender related things or, um, obesity or, um, anorexia, those types of things that, if we see someone exhibiting those behaviors and we feel like, hey, that's not a good thing for that person, then I think as long as you are respectful in terms of how you, um, approach that person or talk about society at large to say, I think this is a bad thing and here's why, then, I don't think anybody can really, um, argue too heavily against that approach. At least they may not agree with your opinion, but I don't think they can really, go against the approach. But I think it is a good thing in society to have a little bit of the ability to at least, kind of gently shame people into better behavior. But again, if you're heavy-handed, then you're not going to get through to that group. So I think it's a lot of it's the approach.
So let me ask you a slightly pointed question. It was fought for a very long time. It was a hard fought win for the lesbian and the gay communities to gain acceptance in mainstream society. It's safe to say that a lot of people really don't care if an individual is gay or lesbian as long as they're not shoving it in everybody's face. But the big question is why do we tolerate people who pretend to be in these uh, circles in order to gain social influence? Because we can tell that some people are fake, but we tolerate them because they're a part of an acceptance movement.
Exactly. Yeah, you can definitely see sometimes when people are trying to, virtue signal or try to just attach themselves to different groups for maybe for disingenuous reasons. And as far as on the topic of gay and lesbians, I sort of think your rights extend to, like, the point of my nose, basically, or however that phrase goes. Like, live your life however you want to, but if it starts impacting my life, then that's where the discussion needs to start. Um, so I really think it's, I'm all for the live and let live mindset, but if you start directly impacting people's lives who don't want to be impacted by your belief system, then I think there's got to be some sort of compromise or some sort of middle ground. Um,
There absolutely should be. I agree. And what in your opinion would be the best route to said compromise? Because I just have to point this out, and once again, I'm not attacking anyone, but all of the individuals who exist within the United States have the same rights. They're recognized the same. In most places, same sex marriages are being accepted now. I mean, we are not in some brave new world where we have to fight for every social injustice anymore. We have laws in place that protect each individual type of people. And we are accepting the fact that they can easily segregate us in these ways and stop looking at us as human. We are tolerating these individuals manipulating society in this manner. And when it comes down to actually people, just being people, no matter what acceptance movement you're a part of, is an easier way to look at it than you need to, acknowledge the fact that I am this and accept it. It's like I would have probably accepted you had you not said that to me.
Right. Or
How
maybe when
often
this-
do you think that happens in society these days?
Well, I think people tend to kind of do what you just said. They're a lot more willing to accept what people choose to be, or maybe controversial opinions that they choose to have, if that person does not try to shout it at you that that's how they feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting how we've there has been an endless amount of progress made, but at the same time, the self-appointed leaders of your different, I guess you could call them virtue signal group, or what have you, they don't really, I think in a lot of cases, represent the people that are a part of their movement. For instance, with the whole BLM thing, I don't
Yes.
think.
We will not be discussing that in detail, but go ahead. I'll stop you if it gets too much.
I got you. The people that gave money to that group, I don't think wanted that to go to the leaders,
You're absolutely correct.
second or third home. So
Exactly.
just to kind of draw a parallel to the different gay and lesbian groups, they don't, if they give money to one of those types of charities, for instance, they don't necessarily want that to be represented by the more prominent people in that group, walking down the middle of the street at a parade, scantily clad necessarily. But
so, do you think that they are just trying to get us to tolerate or accept the extreme behavior so that they can further modify society? And I'm not talking about gays and lesbians. I'm talking about the individuals pulling the strings. Do you think that the extreme behavior exhibited by these small groups is a push to get it accepted by society?
I think it's getting the acceptance is sort of like the fuel that needs to go into the car. If there has to be a continual, I hate to say the term, maybe the term might be victimhood. If that victimhood ever stops and the momentum ever stops, then I think some of these different groups feel like they become irrelevant. So they have to continually try to, get attention, even if it's not warranted. And so I think that's where a lot of the, going to extremes comes from. And perhaps they think by putting their most extreme examples out there, that they're moving the Overton window into a way to normalize things that are way outside the bounds. So I think that's a lot of times where they try to promote the extreme, is to get just the mainstream thought to continually shift.
So there's a psychological phenomenon that occurs. It's called, I'll call it the rule of comparison, because that's what I know it by the most at this point. And what happens is when we compare something extreme to something that's not as bad, depending on how extreme the something is, the less bad the something else seems. So, do you think it's just their attempt through, let's say, do you think they're trying to be benevolent with their acceptance of these extreme things, or do you think they have a hidden agenda behind it?
I think in a lot of cases, your younger people, your people that are teens, early 20s, that there is a genuineness in terms of how they're coming across, like they really believe in what they're trying to promote in whatever lifestyle or group that they're trying to push forward. I think they really believe that is the right thing to do, and that if you don't accept everything that they're wanting to put out there, that somehow you're the bad guy. Whereas I think some of the people that have maybe been around longer, that are a little more savvy, that still push those things, I think there is a little bit more of an agenda to it, you could say.
Indeed. Real quick, I'm going to say hi to Jacob Ironside and to Diablo Dame. Thank you for joining us. So, pancakes.
By the way,
nice.
now I'm hungry. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Why do I
I
tolerate your
have
behavior?
become a giant plate of pancakes.
He identifies as pancakes.
Yeah.
I'm all
One time
gooey
I
and
tried to
warm
order.
inside.
Yeah. One time I
Yeah,
tried to order
whatever.
pancakes in a Waffle House. It didn't go well.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Probably got your ass kicked over that one.
I got a strange look. Yep.
Indeed. So,
I feel like I just totally derailed the conversation.
you did. I noticed pancakes, and you know how it is, bro. You know how it is. It's nighttime now.
My bad,
you know,
boys. My bad.
I've been relaxing, people. Been
Well,
relaxing.
Corey,
So,
do you think there's anything nefarious in terms of the agendas that try to get pushed, or do you think it's people genuinely believing, oh, this is the way things should be?
I think it's a healthy dose of both, honestly. I think that there's a healthy dose of true believers out there, people who are actually convinced by what's going on and believing what their leaders are saying and what's going on is for. And then I believe that there's an actual agenda behind it. I won't mention names, but Klaus is a douchebag. And, there's certain things going on in the world right now that are too coincidental to not be a part of a bigger plan. And so I do think there are nefarious things going on. And I think one of the most nefarious things going on, in which is actually going on under the behind the scenes of the acceptance movements that we're seeing right now, especially with certain lifestyles, which I won't attack, but pedophiles should be executed. No, I'm not calling for violence. That's not what I just said.
You meant
Jeez.
hypothetically, yes.
Hypothetically, yes, it's a hypothetical. But anyway, I do think that it's a big push to desensitize society more and more, because the more we become desensitized to things, the less we'll eventually care about human suffering as a whole. And it's just one of those things that we used to be in a society that was actually pretty damn good. And then, as happens, as has been said by great philosophers and fools alike, when society reaches its pinnacle, they start inventing new conflicts to keep a power imbalance. And I think that's exactly what's going on right now. Because we were all becoming very, and I don't mean in any recent time. If you look back, there was a cushy spot back there that we could have stayed in, and it would have been fantastic for everybody. Somewhere between the 80s and the 90s, maybe early 2000s, things were good.
Right.
At least in the United States. But what can I say? I'm a patriot. I can't have my heart bleed for every country that has Russia on its doorstep. It's a big ass country. Okay. No offense. Uvidim Shuboja. Anyway,
Bless you. Yeah.
that was insensitive. My. Anyway, ADHD over Jeremy being a stack of pancakes. Yeah, that just popped up on my visual. I'm sorry. I forgot what I was talking about. See, stream brain. That's what I'm going to call this. Everybody knows better, but Mama Susan's watching, I'm guessing. So,
Yeah,
Says
Mama
it's some
Susan's
bad
always
things.
watching, man.
But there's definitely nefarious things going on, and I think it's a push to desensitize everyone so they can accept more and more. But that's to answer that question.
yeah. You're right talking about the 80s and 90s, because if you think about it, that was sort of a great peak of
Acceptance
having,
and tolerance.
well, yeah, true. It just, that was a time period where we had enough, technology to be able to live comfortable lives, but yet people also weren't getting, I guess, offended by every little thing all the time either. So it was sort of a nice mix there. And I'll tell you another thing. I don't think as many people get offended as the internet would like for us to believe. I think it's a
I
very small percentage of people.
think you're
I think
absolutely correct.
I think 99% of us, no matter what
See,
side of the aisle we're on, just want to live life.
the way I look at that is when you see some drama like that and racist this, racist that, all this drama shit online, those 90% of the people react one of two different ways. They either go, whatever, scroll on,
Right.
or they go, that guy's fucking dumb, mute. And you're done. Like, I think people are now using those features a lot more. Like, I'm muting a lot of people because I don't want to hear their bullshit.
Exactly.
On Twitter, Tim's Talk says on your left.
Just do what I do and don't use Twitter.
Yeah, he's on there, but he doesn't use it ever because he's like, whatever. I use it to get StreamYard links. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
pretty
Tim
much.
secretly Captain America running past us? With the on your left.
What's up, Cap? So at what point do you think we started accepting being enslaved by technology? Because I feel like we've become enslaved to technology, honestly.
I think
Hello on technology.
I mean, I think as the internet has become more predominant, so starting, late 90s, I think that would probably be when the trend kicked into high gear. But at the same time, I think humans are going to become addicted to whatever is the most current thing. That's just how we are.
And the fastest gratification. Whatever gives humans the fastest gratification on any type of pleasure response gets them hooked on stuff. That's why gambling works. That's why video games get people addicted. That's why TV gets people addicted, working out, you name it. Whatever gives them their kind of high at that given moment, they're going to stick to it. Everyone has a
Dopamine,
vice.
baby.
Dopamine. Yep. They love it. And
Exactly.
serotonin. The people love that serotonin. I'll tell you what.
I'm always happy when I find a vice that I don't really crave. As far as gambling, I could gamble once and then not gamble for 10 years and not even think about it. I could have a drink, go a year and not have another drink and not think about it. So it's nice whenever you discover something that doesn't get a hold of you.
How much do you think the internet has helped people accept reality in our lives?
No.
Has the internet helped acceptance for the human race in any way, shape, or form? Okay, so he says no. Clearly no. And I bet I can guess why. But Matt, what do you think? Do you think that the internet helped us accept more things, or do you think it's done the opposite?
I think it's done the opposite. I think it's given us more to think about. but I think it may have done the opposite in the sense that, at least with myself, I probably have my guard up more on whether or not to, accept someone as being valid in what they're trying to say or come across as than maybe when I was younger and just took things at face value. Again, that could be because I was younger. It may not be because we have more communication today. It could be a combination of both. But in general, I think I think people can actually hurt their movements, by broadcasting it, nonstop. So I would say no.
I think the lack of the human element for the has really negatively affected everything, because the internet took away that face-to-face interaction. There's no more, what do they call them? Keyboard warriors, those people that are all big and bad and brave on the internet, and then you get them in face-to-face and they're, going to curl up in a ball and cry for their mommy.
Yeah, I got mine right here. Got my boys to back me up. What's up? Got my keyboard warriors. But no,
I really think that
I
human
agree.
element that's missing is, we need that back. We really need that back.
I agree, because the internet has made it very easy for people to lie. Let's just be honest. People lie all the fucking time. Okay? Especially on the internet. I mean, if you see it on the internet, it must be true. So I just said it. People lie all the time on the internet. There's a paradox for you in and of itself. Anyway, so because it's made people so readily willing to lie, let's say, lie on Facebook about how great their lives are, lie on Instagram and Snapchat about how pretty they are.
Oh, you know what they say about a joint Facebook account?
Yes, yeah, so we had a great discussion about lying last week with Drew. But the lies that generate, and everybody knows it's all fucking lies, but we still consume it. But the thing is it's made us less likely to accept things that are truth. That's why, say, conspiracy theories are coming true now. Or say, people can accept, like, please, somebody get Amy Schumer away from a mic. She's never allowed to be near a mic ever again. Like, give me a fucking break. We cannot tolerate Amy Schumer level humor in comedy, okay? Gag me with a spoon, okay? Like, so bad. And she's so fat. I'm sorry, that was a fat joke. I shouldn't say that. I'm not apologizing either. I shouldn't say sorry.
Don't say sorry, unless you're really sorry.
I'm not.
The interesting thing with her is when she had a sketch show, there were actually a few sketches on her Comedy Central show that weren't half bad.
She didn't write them.
Well, that's why
they're barely good. She's not a comedic genius. She's not a good writer. She's just a fat blonde lady who talks about things nobody thinks is funny.
Yep. You mean like the vagina?
Like, oh man, why did you have to say that?
Maybe the first joke about her privates may be funny, but the 20th, may not be quite as good.
Sounds like Dane Cook comedy.
Pickles. But so why do you think that we as a society tolerate things that we know are absolute garbage?
I think as Americans, we've maybe been conditioned a little bit to not want to offend, to not want to rock the boat, and we sort of feel like tolerating things is the path of least resistance. But ultimately,
is tolerance the new fad? Do you think societal fad is tolerance?
Yeah, it's certainly a
tolerance
fad
to an extreme.
Yeah. One thing that I do always get a chuckle out of is that the people that push tolerance the hardest will then say, "Oh, and you're not allowed to have these, 20 to 30 opinions, or you're a terrible person."
Or you're no longer allowed to have things that you currently have, like gun rights. But that's
I
kind
was
of
about to say,
political.
like my gun.
Yeah, that's political. We should avoid that. I'm pro 2A 100%. Uh,
I agree with what Lassie just said.
can we make society a fad? No, because society unfortunately never dies off. It's more like a cancer. It just mutates. I'm sorry, that was very misanthropic, but true. Anyway,
Nice.
wow.
And not to get political, but whenever a politician says, "I'm doing this for society," be
It's-
aware, be wary.
Yes, absolutely. That's not political at all. Okay, when you're aiming at politicians in general,
Right.
it's not really political. It's a natural warning. Don't trust politicians. You have to keep them on their nose to the grindstone. And you'll see which ones have a Michael Jackson nose that just kind of chips off like paint. But
Yeah.
so we tolerate things because we were conditioned to, because it's like freedom of speech and expression and stuff like that, right? But right now we're tolerating the normalization of mental illness. Do you think that that's a good thing?
No, I think it's a horrible thing, and I think it could eventually end humanity. If you extrapolate it enough generations
Yeah.
down the line. Just to give you an example of sometimes where too much tolerance, too much acceptance can directly impact you. I'm the member of one of the biggest Protestant churches in the country as far as the denomination itself, and there's a big struggle going on right now within the global leadership of the church, where there's one group that promotes having LGBT um, people that are in the clergy, and
You mean
promoting
like that
that
lesbian bishop out east?
right, and promoting that as being a good lifestyle to have within the church, and the more traditional people that in my opinion follow what the Bible says on that topic, they are about to be outvoted and have to leave the church and pay an exit fee along the way based on how the church is structured. So if you want to believe what you've always believed, you then have to your church, if they want to remain as a traditional group, then has to pay a fee to the more radicalized leadership that has taken over the denomination. So
That sounds a lot like extortion. I'm just saying.
yeah, that's exactly the word that came to my mind when I first heard about it. So
Hey, I love a good racket. All
Right.
right, I do. But sometimes you got to step off a little bit. Not that the church has ever stepped off.
Right.
I'm not bashing Catholics, but there's been some history, people.
Yeah.
All right. So I wanted to actually highlight this from Stephen Ransom. Hail, sir. When I first moved to Los Angeles, I saw a sign for the Museum of Tolerance. We now live on a planet by the same name. Indeed, we do. Welcome to Planet Tolerance, where all things are acceptable. All happy, everyone happy now. Hey, have you ever seen Brave New World?
I have I've read
Or
the book.
that's
I
what I
haven't-
meant to ask you. Don't ever
Yeah.
watch the show. Don't ever watch the show. It is such garbage. Anyway, that's what pure acceptance and tolerance kind of leads us to. Because pure acceptance and tolerance means we accept our superiors as being our superiors. Correct?
Yes.
So that means we do whatever the fuck they say.
Yes.
So when you boil it down, a brave new world is pure acceptance and tolerance because they let anything happen and never bothers anybody. Calm.
Yep. Take a soma, as they say.
Yes, a soma. That's what it's called.
Yeah. The only reason I remember that is because that soma was used in that book like, I don't know, 100 times. That word
Yeah.
seemed like it appeared.
I
Ginny the
prefer
Red.
a good enema.
Wow. Yeah, I bet you do, homie. I bet you do. Gosh, this is a kid-friendly show, fucker. Gosh. Can't you see what I'm trying to build here?
No.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you truly expected this entire thing to be a super dark discussion, I'm sorry. I have to crack jokes.
Well,
So
it's your fault, Corey. Earlier you were talking about how people want instant gratification. So
they do indeed. I'm going to go ahead and put the chat in the stream. Look at that. Now I don't have to highlight anything. I'm kidding. I will. But still. Anyway, continue. Awesome. I'm just
well,
kidding.
as far as Brave New World, one thing that's interesting in that book is everyone has to be happy, and if you're not happy, then the people they're suspicious of you.
And you get reconditioned.
Yes.
I think they made a video game like that called We Happy Few. Like everybody wears these happy masks, and if you are just a normal person walking around, like beat you and kill you.
Wow.
You're not happy enough. Die, motherfucker.
Wow. See, and in that acceptance structure that they have in that, especially in Brave New World, they have class systems. How important do you think the class system is to global acceptance?
Well, I think it's one of those things where, at least in modern times with the acceptance, it's sort of like how many boxes you can check determine how how much, I guess, privilege you get to have in terms of being accepted by those who try to always promote what they think is virtuous. So it's
So what you're saying is the more money you have, the more easily people will accept whatever you do. Oh, Kevin
Pretty
Spacey.
much.
Okay.
but yeah, there's definitely different rules for different people that are that have access to things. And of course, Kevin Spacey, when he got under attack, he tried to play the the coming out of the closet card, but it didn't work.
Well, sometimes bullshit is just bullshit. So why do you think it's so easy for people to accept what celebrities have to say?
Well, I think because, especially if it's an actor or a musician that we've been aware of, for a great part of our lives, we develop like a connection that we have to them that they do not have back towards us because they have no idea who we are.
Yes,
And
that runs
I
on
think,
the subconscious process of familiarity.
right. I think we assume that they're a certain type of person, that they're trustworthy because we see them in interviews and we see them in
Yes, we see them put their social face on.
Yes. And I think
Never
we just
meet your idols.
that's what they say. That's what they say. I got to meet you, Corey.
Yeah,
So.
I hope I'm not your idol. Oh, man.
I'd be scared for you, bro.
Hail, Snail Messiah. You say, what is the topic tonight? Acceptance versus tolerance. What does this say? Hail, Ron Seidel. I recognize that name from somewhere. Have you heard of Undead Chronic? He's the guy whose warband who exposed Jack Murphy and recently debated Lauren Southern. He is very anti-feminism and Marxist. What are your thoughts of him if you do? I am not familiar with the individual. I don't pay attention to a lot of that kind of stuff. People who go out of their way to expose other people. Like when it comes to my attention, because everybody's talking about it, then I know something about it. Like Jack Murphy. I mean, I have some great Jack Murphy memes, but those are private. Like, something he knows nothing about, clearly.
Y'all need to find some Project Veritas.
Y'all need Jesus. Anyway, no.
Hail, snail,
Project
Jesus.
Veritas is very fun, but I've never heard of Undead Chronic. At first, I'm going to be honest, I thought that was a strain of weed, and it got me a little excited. But I'm not promoting drug use. I'm just saying. All right.
Well, Jeremy's avatar look,
The
kind of has an undead.
the female boomer. Yeah.
Yeah.
From
It's because
Left
I
4 Dead
ate
2.
Amy Schumer. I'm dying here, guys.
Well, yeah, that's a big meal, bro. Damn.
Or maybe
You're
that is
supposed to
Amy
skim
Schumer
the fat off first.
in the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, that's where they got the character model, probably. They're like, look at her. Yeah. She just spews acid everywhere and it
I thought it
stinks.
was Rosie O'Donnell, but
All
Yeah,
right.
I mean, as far
So,
as
Snake.
celebrities, for instance, Will Smith. The only reason why people couldn't believe that he got up and went and slapped someone is because his persona for 30 plus years has been happy-go-lucky guy that would never harm a fly unless he was, defending himself. But that may not be who he is.
Yes, this is true. But do you think. How do I word this? Do you think he thought people would accept that behavior?
I think it was in a weird. And now this is going to sound like some sort of, weak response, and I don't want it to come across that way. But maybe on some sort of subconscious level, it was some sort of like cry for help, or maybe he snapped. Maybe he's heard people, rip him on the fact that his wife had an open marriage on her side, but it may not have been the same way both ways, and maybe
Cuck,
it was just the straw that
right?
broke the camel's back type thing, and he had a meltdown.
Cuck.
Right? Yeah. Maybe he got tired of being called that and
The-
just snapped.
Okay. But here's the thing. And this is especially true for public figures. And this used to be widely taught in things like etiquette and grammar and things like that, where, certain things in society fucking matter. Like one of our other
never heard
topics,
of any
like
of those.
manners,
I think
for
you're
instance.
insane.
Shh. I know people aren't supposed to know I'm crazy, Jeremy. They're supposed to figure it out over time. Gosh, it's supposed to be another beautiful mind incident without all the bad stuff that guy actually did. Anyway, hail Parrot Head. Jada will give Will the stink eye prior to the slap. Yes, she did indeed. She did, and it was egged on, and that's because he has no spine.
It was like an
Feel free
MK
to come
Ultra,
and yeah, feel free
look.
to come and
Yep.
slap me, by the way,
Yep.
because I promise I'm not like Chris Rock. He's professional. He can stand there and take a hit.
That was the most impressive part of it.
Yeah, that made me
Hell yeah,
kind
dude.
of that made me kind of believe that it was staged at first, but then all of the sudden, I was like, that man used to do stand up in like fucking Harlem. All right. I bet you he's been smacked on stage more time than most other comedians could ever even fear being smacked. That man's probably got a steel jaw at this point from being smacked on stage back in the day. I mean, come on. Like, those places didn't have great security. If he wanted to, he could have laid Will Smith out. But he didn't, because he's controlled. And that's what every public figure needs, is control, self-control. And we as a society should not tolerate our public figures acting like asshats. Okay? Shit spewing everywhere all over everyone's head. It's not okay. It's just not okay. And now we're going to get ready for the viewer vote segment. So
I need a shower.
any thoughts you guys have? You do. I believe it. That was rude. I shouldn't have said that. Anyway, so Steven, tell us a little bit about your future plans on YouTube. What are you thinking? You thinking about making some content in the future? Are you thinking about just sticking around in the chats and the live streams? You're gonna bounce around and be like, "Hey guys, I'm spying on these guys for these guys." Just little things.
Yeah. Well, I enjoy just kind of hanging out in the chat. So I am looking to create some content at some point in the future, just trying to figure out, what direction to go. Big fan of Star Wars, gotten into, the Marvel movies, Marvel TV shows, things of that nature. But, also like politics and current events and just whatever I get into. I do want to try to find my niche um,
Hell yeah,
as best I can,
that's important.
and but also I want to talk about things that I enjoy talking about, because if you get stuck on a topic you're miserable on, eventually your heart's not going to be in it, and it's going to show. So
For sure.
it's a delicate balance there.
So here comes the first poll, ladies and gentlemen, for the dark topic next week. It is sin, guilt. Where the hell did it go? There it is. Sin, guilt, and death. I know, not super exciting, but I like to change things up every once in a while. So
Didn't we
get your
talk about
vote in.
death already?
No, that was fear of death. This is a completely
Oh, okay.
different discussion. Wow, sin is winning. All right, people want us to get all kind. Yeah. All right. And we'll let that simmer for a little bit, and I'll look at that in a few minutes.
Which is what we called it when I smashed his penis with a lead model of the Eiffel Tower.
So, do you think that the world is actually as tolerant as it appears to be?
No.
No, I think that there is, the people try to put that perception out there, but in the U.S., yes, there's a lot of tolerance because of how many different cultures we've had come in. But
Way more than any other country
In the history of the world.
ever.
yeah,
What? Sorry, continue.
but no, that's a good point. There's really nothing to compare the U.S. to. There's not really a good comparison to the U.S.
It's the single most successful experiment in my mind. And it's still running, people. The experiment hasn't failed or succeeded yet. The experiment that is the United States and our republic is still in an experimental phase. But it's been wildly successful so far. So please accept the fact that we do well over here.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been, I think our model overall works. Basically, the more that people in DC get out of the way, typically the better, things go. But in terms of is it whether there's too much tolerance, or enough tolerance, or is it what it appears to be on the surface? I would say in our country, yes, there is a lot, but overseas, it's really going to be hit or miss. There are places that you would think may be intolerant, or that you may not think are intolerant, that actually are. For instance, the Eastern European country that's being attacked right now, they are not pro-gay marriage. But a lot of the people assumed, oh, just because that country is the victim, that they must have all the same virtues that they promote, when that's not the case. So yeah, people that live in the States need to take a step back and be grateful that they do live in a country where where their opinion can be expressed without some sort of arrest or physical assault or what have you.
Indeed. So, 3 minutes into the poll, we're looking at guilt at a 50%, sin at 40, and death at 10. And yes, I watered down the dark topic this time, by the way. I did.
Boo this man.
Shut up. No, don't boo this man. I need to give these people a taste of what the other topic areas are like. Okay, we did 2 darks and a gray so far. We can do another gray next week or something. I don't know. It'll be great. Unless, of course, the
Nobody
guest
likes
chooses the dark topic, and
lighthearted.
then I'm going to be like, okay, well, let's talk. And then we'll have a weird discussion about probably guilt from the looks of things. Unless, of course, the viewers go ahead and vote, because this is the viewers vote section. So, that's what you do. Go vote. Anyway, so
But
in my
I'd
opinion, hold on. In my opinion, there are certain levels of tolerance and acceptance that become very dangerous to society as a whole. And I'm talking about society as in the human population on this entire planet as it sits right now, because we're all being affected by this. But we're accepting too much from people who know too little about what it is to be human, in my personal opinion. And I think that's a major problem with society these days. It's the fact that people are just willing to accept a total asshats and whatever comes out of their mouths so they can have a convenient life, a comfortable life over a well-earned life. That's what I think acceptance is getting us, is lazy enslavement.
Yeah, I think Pinochet's helicopter tours has a great point talking about no accountability.
You're correct. I did see that.
There is.
I think this society is far too tolerant in the United States. We constantly let the elite class get away with everything with no accountability. We would be more successful if people would be held accountable. I agree. And I do agree with Ron Seidel as well that Marxism infiltrating the United States has been the most damaging aspect of the United States. That's enough politics for the night. I'm closing this poll out. It's going to be guilt. Ladies and gentlemen, the dark topic for next week is guilt. Yes. Which I have none of for watering down the poll, because I am not a politician and I had no sway on anything except the awesomeness of next week's show. Now, for the next topics, we're going to go gray. Yay. All right, and then I'm going to stop sharing this. So,
by the way, every time I type the word gray, if I type it with an A, I think I should use an E. And when I use an E, I think I should use an A. It's one of those words that always throws me off.
I ran into that situation for a long time, and I just stopped caring. So now I just use the E at all times. I'm just like, nope, it's with an E. What are my topics for next week? Oh, yeah. So, Jeremy, what are your thoughts on tolerance and acceptance in American society? Is it ruining the world?
As far as it's gone, I think so. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
But yeah, it was nice when there was a time where, there was just a kind of a generally accepted idea of what truth was, and if you get too outside of society's norms, people just, and it didn't have to be in the meanest possible way, but just society in general kind of steered you back onto, the road, to where, you weren't too, out there. And that's not to say that people shouldn't be able to, to live their own life and be eccentric, but I do kind of miss the days where you'd at least get kind of a little slap on the wrist if you got too far out.
Indeed. So, for the gray topics, we have spirituality, privacy, and ghosts. Here it comes, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure it'll pop up eventually. There it is. Yeah, it's going to be good. Speaking of which, I do have a conversation going with a certain content creator and a group of content creators about doing a live panel about paranormal shit. So
that would be fucking awesome.
We will keep you guys posted on how that's going to go. See, Johnny Step, look at this. Look, I have to approve your message just because it's got this stupid little bug in it.
Why?
Because YouTube is retarded. I'm an hour into my stream. They're not listening anymore. They're like, oh my gosh, I can't stand this guy anymore.
He's such a bigot.
Such a bigoted bastard. OMG. Anyway, spirituality is currently leading with 67% of the votes. Interesting. I did not see that coming, ladies and gentlemen. You constantly surprise me, and I love you for it. So, is there anything, as I made clear earlier, I am completely intolerable to pedophiles.
Agreed.
other than that, is there anything that you feel that is being pushed right now that we cannot accept? And I'm not talking like politically, I'm talking on a social level. Is there any type of thing like pedophilia that you see being pushed a lot that you think is, probably should be raising red flags?
Lots of things, but I don't want to get you banned from YouTube.
That's fair. I appreciate it.
I mean, I've got kind of a one that's not, I don't think, too controversial. So just to give a real life example that has been duplicated by millions of people, over the past 2 years, my work environment has gone from being in an office full of people to remote. And there are certain days where we may be working in the office, but based on the work we do, it's not essential for us to get that work done to be in an office together. So most of us are working remote, especially with gas prices for those that have to drive a long way. I think isolating people in terms of having them work from home, long term, that's going to be bad for society the more you isolate people. So that would be.
I agree.
So I do it, but I don't tolerate it at the same time, if that makes any sense.
Yes, I do. Understand that it does.
Yeah.
That's what came out. That came out retarded too. So currently, the poll is at 70% spirituality, 20% ghosts, and 10% privacy. Nobody gives a shit about privacy anymore. There's the discussion. Ha! See, there it is again. I told you, Stephen. It's because of this stupid little bug right there.
I was the privacy vote. So, yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. And see, I welcome. If you guys want to suggest topics, definitely hit me up at the Good Voice Guy on Twitter if you're on the Twatterverse. And if you're on Gilded, you can find me. It's Sir Talks a Lot. I would have to look at the number, but I'm in all of comics divisions and culture casinos and all their Gilded. So you should be able to find me fairly easily. If you have suggestions for topics, go ahead and drop them in the chat, of course. And it would be fantastic because I like Ryan Roger Athay's ability to get suggestions because I don't have that. I'm envious of it. What can I say? But this has been a fantastic discussion, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go ahead and end this poll just a little early and say it's going to be spirituality so we can get time for the light discussion next week. This topic, not discussion. That's stupid. Anyway, so Jeremy, you're still not on Twitter. Well, you are, but you're not. Right?
Yeah. I mean, if people want to follow me over there, that's fine. It's just Germ404F. I don't do much with it. I absolutely despise Twitter as a platform. I mean, all of them, Facebook, all of them. I don't use any of them. So I'm busy living my life and, being a parent, and I ain't got time for that shit.
I feel you. I feel you. Getting away from the drama. So for right now, Matt, Small Time Republic, sir, where can people find you?
I went ahead and just a second ago put my YouTube channel in the private chat.
Oh, sweet. I will go ahead and drop that.
But I don't have any content at this point. So if anyone subscribes, they're more than welcome to. Don't have anything out there yet to watch. I got a Twitter account too. Post a little bit there. I can get that as well. But mainly you'll more than likely, at least for the time being, just see me, hanging out in the chat and different streams, and just
hell yeah,
on occasion maybe appearing on a stream here or there. I like the discussion.
Damn.
The ongoing discussion that's out there within the fellowship.
I agree. It is a fantastic thing. This community constantly surprises me, honestly. They do. And I'm not saying that I am a pessimist. I'm jaded. I expect everybody to act on their shittiest behavior, which is why I have the best chat on YouTube, because none of them are assholes. None of them are dicks. Look at that. They're all great. Anyway, so here's the light topics. We'll just vote on this real quick. We'll give you 2 minutes to vote on this. It's communication, bravery, and mythology. That's what the topics will be. This is what it will be next week on the light topic. Go ahead and get your vote in there. I wrote them down wrong earlier and had to scour through my phone in order to find them. Mythology is currently leading. All right. So Lasso throws Wretch at Corey. That's not nice.
Look at the way
Dodge
you
the ball.
mistreat her. She
Wrench.
says she's the president of your fan club, and she's not.
Okay,
in your
and
billiard
I've got to
program?
point out real quick. I'm gonna start by saying, "Hail, Mrs. Flew. It's great to see you in the chat." I'm just gonna, she says, "Toxic Man Flew, hello, my love." Is he here? I haven't really noticed. I mean, honestly.
Yeah, he just dropped your Twitter in the chat.
I know, I see him.
How
I like giving
ignore him.
He says he's an asshole, and you got to ignore assholes, right? I mean, I don't think he's an asshole. He's just like kind of strange, and I love strange people. You should meet my friends. They're all kinds of fucking weird. I mean, shit.
The world would be
Right.
boring if there were no assholes.
This is true. Okay, people undervalue assholes in society. I'm just going to put that out there. I know we're over the hour mark, and we'll stop here in a minute, but assholes teach you how not to behave. Okay? And like I always say, I like assholes better than dicks, because assholes just shit on people, and dicks fuck everybody. You can wash the shit off, but you can't wash off getting fucked. So
It's true.
I'd much rather deal with an asshole than a dick, which is why the golden rule in life, as I've said pretty much every time, is don't be a dick. And see, Ron Seidel, I don't believe you, because I haven't seen any evidence to support that so far. This is true. And you totally should go follow me on Twitter, The Good Voice Guy. If you like memes and stuff, I don't really do a lot. I do memes and occasionally put a stupid comment on a celebrity's thing where I'm like, okay, or some stupid shit like that. I love memes. I'm a memer on the internet. Check out the Legion of Memers. Check out No Green Rocks. They do great memes. Those guys. I can't release the Kraken, mid-Kraken. Shit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I felt like Liam Neeson there for a second. Release the Kraken. That was fantastic.
It's always weird when you think of a meme and then you see where someone has put it out there 5 minutes prior.
Mythology.
Like, same wavelength.
We have the lovely Sherry joining us. We have, let's see, there's the lovely Sherry, Parrot Head. I'm an asshole and proud of it. Well, that's good, Parrot Head. You should absolutely not take any shame in any part of you that's been a defining characteristic of you. See?
It is Pride Month.
Why do I have to approve hers? Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, what the hell? Hey, Mama Susan. If anyone of your team is watching this right now, fuck off. Like, seriously. You got to stop messing with my fans. Did you know that they unsubscribed a shitload of people saying that they weren't real?
Yeah, and they're all people you talk to every day.
Yeah, I think one of them
That's
at
just
one
been
point
happening
was
for a long
Lasso of
time.
Truth. Okay, Lasso of Truth is the self-proclaimed and proven president of my fan club. So, I mean, I think they unsubscribed her at one point, and I was like, "Hey, Team YouTube, what the fuck?" And they were like, "Oh, they're not real." I'm like, "Oh,
What?
so you're telling me these are just more voices in my head? I've got plenty of them as it is. Why do I need more? Now they're just text on a screen. I can't believe it." See? Gosh. See, I
Your
don't have to
worst
approve
nightmares
these
come
because
to
they pop
life.
up. See, I like having the chat window here because then they just pop up.
Yep. I mean, I've heard of YouTube unsubscribing people that that are wrenches, which Lasso is. Unsubscribing people that are channel members on the the monetized
Doesn't
channels.
unsubscribing from somebody when you're a member, doesn't that cancel the membership?
don't know.
Because that's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, but
If
I have heard of
is
that
the
happening.
case, then absolutely that's fucked up. Fuck those guys. Gosh. But ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go ahead and leave now. What is that? Oh yeah. Thank you for watching Dark Philosophy, but as Lasso of Truth so lovingly calls it, it's not dark, it's dimly lit. You're right, I am a dimly lit individual, and it shows. Ha! Self-deprecating humor. One of my favorites. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bounce out of here. Thank you for watching. It has been a fantastic show. Where's the button? I'm going to go with this one again because I love it. So stay sexy and don't get murdered.
Friends, I have killed one of God's most innocent and intelligent creatures.